Good morning. Today we're going to be talking about the unit that I'm going to be doing for the final unit planning for lai599, which is Technology Integration and Curriculum. It's a unit that's going to take over the place over the course of about 3 to 4 weeks, really. We'll be reading the novel High Wizardry by Diane Duane and doing things in the analysis of the novel, from writing about it to class discussion, with anything in between. And if students are able to come up with something that meets the standards, that would be an alternate that can either use or not use technology. That's great. We're going to do 910 Reading Standard 1, cite strong and thorough textual evidence to support analysis of what the text implicitly or explicitly says and make logical inferences. 910 Reading Standard 2 and 3, determine one or more themes and analyze how and why individual events and ideas develop or interact over the course of the text and how these affect the theme, because it is a literary text. Week 1, I will introduce the novel and explain. It's part of a larger series. It's the third book in the series, but it also works as a story by itself. I'll introduce the objectives to the student, which will be determine the central theme of the novel, work together in a class discussion, tell how the interactions of the characters or events of the novel support the theme the student determined, and summarize the entire text if prompted. Students will read half the novel in week 1 and half in week 2, which will be broken up into Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on week 1, or Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night in week 1, it being a quarter of the first half, and then the same thing in week 2 for a quarter of the second half. Then there will be a audiobook or ebook available, as well as the physical book. 30-minute class discussions on the book. Last 15 minutes of the class each day will be a short reflection on their thoughts and how the discussion changed it. I'm saying 15 minutes, but that's also just in case that students do that. The second week we'll have the same discussions, but it'll be a bit higher tech. During the week, we will spend 2 days adding AI large language models into the discussion. I'm thinking Tuesday and Thursday. Students will decide what to ask it, then inputting a decent amount of the discussion into but that large language model, I decided to do that actually intentionally, as this book involves Dareen, the main character, receiving a wizard's manual that is a robot or a computer, and it is essentially what we would consider artificial intelligence in a large language model in some senses, and in other senses it's actually its own life form. But it, along with AI, has the theme of garbage in, garbage out. If you input garbage into the computer, it's going to give you garbage out. The same is true with any AI model. Students, instead of doing a handwritten response, will go home and ask a question that was brought up during the debate or during the discussion to one of the AIs, and they'll reflect on the answer in a 1 to 2 page typed response about how it may have changed their feelings on the novel, if at all. During week 3, students will respond to the following questions in 2 to 3 paragraphs. Did your thoughts on the use of AI change after reading the novel, specifically after garbage in, garbage out, or GIGO? And then write a 500 to 700 word essay explaining the theme of the novel. And if the student chooses not to write an essay, I will also offer them the opportunity to do a podcast of 3 to 5 minutes, a video of 3 to 5 minutes, a presentation that lasts no longer than 10 minutes, as long as it meets this theme. I'm thinking that this will probably, if I get everything I want, cost about $10,000, or not $10,000, several $1,000, because pen and paper for the students, $800 a year. A class set of books and ebooks would be about $2,000. Then, of course, there's the school provided things along the lines of the word processor, computer, and we'll either use Copilot, ChatGPT, or Gemini, whichever one is free. I believe that it is important for the Universal Design for Learning to not just focus on disabled students with it, but to focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion in all manners, which does include the idea that socioeconomic factors can affect students. So we want to provide all students with the same materials so that they can all be successful. I think this lesson and unit would actually be really helpful for students because it's topical. I actually think I'm taking young adult literature next semester, and if I were teaching that class next semester, I would actually use this book because AI and artificial intelligence and the AI life form debate is going to be a thing that's going to happen, as well as whether or not it should be in education at all is something that's going to be happening. And I think that the idea of having this in our classrooms is going to be a really good idea. I think students need to have more equity and more control over their education, and simply just being told, okay, go use a computer now, or go use AI now, isn't good for the student. Being told, you have the option to go use the computer, you have the option to use AI as long as you use it ethically, you have the option to do pen and paper, I think is a lot better than what we have now, which is you tell the student what to do, and then the student does it and demonstrates a proficiency that may actually not even be anywhere in your standards. There's a good chance that large language models will end up in the ELA standards if they continue to be as integrated into everything as they are now, which on a personal level, I don't like that, but on a professional level, I believe it's important to be prepared for that. And since I've already read at least one novel that addresses something like this, I think it would be useful to talk about other things like that. I've also been thinking that another novel that I could use, but I don't think it's quite appropriate for high school students, is Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep. That was thought about, but unfortunately, I just don't necessarily think it's appropriate for 9th and 10th graders. And I would want this to be in 9th grade really early so that students have a tone of what their expectations are of AI, as well as what their feelings are on AI, as well as having some equity in their education. Thank you. I've been Samantha Pond, your host for the day.